7 a.m. and it's now time for the Morning Watch. Before we get into the Morning Watch today, it is sponsored by the Ministry of Legal and Constitutional Affairs.
The report is out.
What report?
The Constitutional Reform Committee's report of recommendations.
Recommendations on what?
On how we move from a monarchy to a republic, of course.
So what's in it?
The creation of the office of president and changes to our parliament. Yes, man. It also includes a new qualification for membership in parliament. I know you want to see that one.
Read the full report at roadtorepublic.nlca.gov.jm.
We are on the road to republic.
Listeners to Love 101 FM are advised that the views and opinions expressed in this program are not necessarily those of Love 101 FM.
Hello and welcome to the Morning Watch on Love 101 FM. I'm your host, Dylan Toussaint. Now a special welcome to our listeners on love101.org, and if you're overseas and on the move, U.S. listeners can access us at 712-832-8001. And if you're in the UK, 0330-332-6541. Or join us via the Love 101 FM app that can be downloaded from the Google Play Store or the Apple Store. You can also join us on Love 101 FM Facebook and YouTube Live. In the first watch today, fixing the math crisis. And in the second watch, what does it mean to be mentally ready for back to school? For our social media question, we ask, what did you do to make sure your child is mentally ready for school? We're asking you to share your responses on our Love 101 FM Facebook page and YouTube channel, and also on WhatsApp 876-997-3125 using the hashtag The Morning Watch. We'll share your responses later on in the program, but before all of that, here's our quote.
All right, today's I quote says, education is our passport to the future. For tomorrow belongs only to the people who prepare for it today. And this one is from Malcolm X.
Yeah, profound statement there.
I agree.
Good morning, Joker.
Good morning.
What do you remember most about your back to school days?
Wow. Just being exciting, just to, see my friends again.
Yes.
Of course.
Yes.
Be back in a new class and hoping that we're placed together again. Because normally, back in school,
you're
I
right.
was together with all my friends year after year.
Right.
Yeah, big up to my school.
Yeah, man. The first one to be back after this break.
Here is your opportunity to connect with someone who will listen, pray, and give guidance. It's the Ministry of Counseling and Prayer of the Edgewater Baptist Church. Please call 876-220-6474 or 876-332-7956. Weekdays between 8 a.m. and 9 p.m. Saturdays and Sundays between 8 a.m. and 8 p.m. Please talk to someone if you're finding it particularly challenging to cope during this period of crisis. Someone is waiting for your call. Please reach out today. 876-220-6474 or 876-332-7956. It's the telephone counseling and prayer ministry of the Edgewater Baptist Church. A reminder that somebody cares. Endorsed by Love 101.
When I come to the end of myself, Father, carry me.
Welcome back to the Morning Watch. Thanks for staying with us. I'm your host, Dylan Toussaint. Now, it's not just now. A math crisis has been in the making for many years. And for just as many years, solutions have been proposed and implemented. But here we are, in a so-called math crisis. What are the main issues and implications arising from such a crisis, if there really is a crisis? Well, to answer these and other related questions, we have joining us Darian Henry, development specialist and principal of the Montego Bay Community College, as well as Prince Royal, mathematics tutor of Royal Math Solutions. Good morning to you both.
Morning.
Good morning, Dr. Toussaint. Good morning. Good morning.
Great. Good to have you both with us. Gentlemen, from your perspective and experience, how important and significant is math to our society and the world at large? Beginning with you, Darian Henry.
Okay, thank you very much again for inviting me on your program. I'm
Welcome.
very happy that you are putting this issue to the fore. It's
Yeah.
a multidimensional and very complex issue, which has tremendous historical roots. But the question of math and mathematics and mathematical application is quite important to us. Contemporarily speaking, and you'd hear the Prime Minister quite recently with the thrust for STEM. And for us to have this aggressive thrust for the build out of STEM in our primary and secondary levels of the system, you must have a strong mathematical foundation. There's no question at all about it. But the acceptance of math as a comfortable subject is a cultural one as well. And it's because of the science around it. Yeah, math, it takes skill, it takes a different level of comprehension, it takes a different level of pedagogy to apply the mathematical principles which are important in all dimensions of society.
I hear you. I hear the passion as well. Mr. Royal, your
Thank you.
perspective, why is it important and significant to us and the world?
Thank you as well for inviting me to this very important discussion.
Mm,
It is very important because math is one of those life skills that you need to navigate the world, right? It's what you'll use in every facet of your life, from a normal purchase to a big purchase to calculating the different things that you do. We're talking about building things. We're talking about even having fun sometimes. It's so essential that it's something that you can't actually avoid at all.
mm, yeah. Every aspect of our lives include some form of maths, eh?
That is true.
Yeah. So, gentlemen, in your view, is there really a math crisis in Jamaica? And what are the main concerns in that regard? Mr. Henry? Darren?
Perhaps a little bit overblown.
Yes. Is there really a math
Are you
crisis in
hearing me?
Jamaica?
Okay, great. Yes.
Yeah, no. Is there really a math crisis in Jamaica in your view?
So, beginning my thesis to point out that to say there is a crisis in math is a little bit kind of an overblown concept to me, because we've always had issues with applying mathematical principles in the school system. What we have a notion of retaining the best of our math teachers. Now, let me get granular with you, Dr. Toussaint and Prince Royal. Research has proven that the teacher is the most important aspect of a child's learning. The most. Second to which is leadership. If you don't have your best of teachers being able to apply the best mathematical pedagogy in the classroom, you're going to have a problem. Yeah? But more than that, in my personal and considered view, that COVID-19 and what transpired in those 2.5 years has helped to exacerbate the problems associated with math. One research just coming out of the United States, which was conducted across, I think, 17 different states. What it is suggesting is that students now are at least 4 to 5 months behind in assimilating mathematical principles. No
Wow.
such similar research has been done in Jamaica or the Caribbean. But I would imagine that we would also be at a significant disadvantage. So The question of a crisis for me is whether or not we are able to retain our better teachers in the system. Students can't just learn math alone. They have to be guided along the way in those mathematical principles. So if we continue to hemorrhage our math teachers, last year, for example, the ministry is saying that we lost about 1,200 teachers. We're not
Yeah.
sure how many are math teachers. My own brother, who taught at one of the most prominent high schools in Kingston, he left last week. He's now teaching in England. And
Mm.
his results every year is northwards of 80% grade 1 passes in mathematics. But we have lost that talent. So the question is, how adept are we at replenishing our pedagogical talent so that we can really and truly address this math issue, so to speak? But it's not only a math problem, you know. We also have we have a compendium and a companion literacy problem as well. And as principal, I can tell you, many students who apply to come in for the first year at the community college, I can speak there. Many students do not have mathematics. Do not, and we have to build out a special program right now, yeah, so that those who are able to accept, we're able to assimilate them in a kind of environment, a special math environment, so we can bring them up to speed. But we really and truly have a problem in the system, and it requires real hard knocks policy approach to address this. But
Let
if
me
we
see.
continue to lose our teachers, we're gonna continue to have this math problem.
Let me see if I'm hearing it clearly, Mr. Henry. You're saying that the crisis really for you is the fact that we perhaps do not have the teachers who are able to properly teach the subject.
That is my thesis, yes.
Okay, all right. Mr. Royal, your take on that. Do
I would
we
say
have a math crisis?
I would say yes, we do have a math crisis, but it's not, as Mr. Henry said a while ago, not just a math crisis, it's an educational crisis. Right? For several years, we've seen how the performance in math, in both primary and secondary levels, with many students failing to achieve proficiency in the foundational concepts. These would reflect in national exam results, where a significant number of students struggle with the basic numeracy and the higher level mathematical skills, contributing to factors including a shortage of qualified teachers, math teachers, right? Due to migration I was talking about a while ago. Insufficient training and support for the educators. I don't think we're actually producing, as was just explained a while ago, as much teachers or anything to actually compensate for the losses that we're actually experiencing right now in the skill set, right? I want to talk about the lack of engaging and relevant teaching methods as well. I think we're always tracking behind in terms of how we actually get the concepts across to the students as well. And of course, this is compounded by the limited resources that we have, the big classrooms that we have, especially in rural areas. The crisis is also deepened by attitudes, societal attitudes, that often people view maths as, oh, it's difficult, it's too hard, or sometimes you'll hear how irrelevant math is as a subject sometimes from students, right? Like, where am I going to be using this? Right? If we don't address these issues urgently, we risk limiting our students' future opportunities and our country's ability to actually compete in a global economy that increasingly relies on strong mathematical skills.
Okay. All right. Hearing you loud and clear, Mr. Royal.
But
Mr. Henry. Before you come in, though, Mr. Henry, we are actually nearing a break. So let's just take the break, and when we come back, we'll have your input.
The report is out.
What report?
The Constitutional Reform Committee's report of recommendations.
Recommendations on what?
On how we move from a monarchy to a republic, of course.
So what's in it?
The creation of the office of president and changes to our parliament. Yes, man. It also includes a new qualification for membership in parliament. I know you want to see that one.
Read the full report at roadtorepublic.nlca.gov.jm.
We are on the road to republic.
We make math every dream where you have, remember everything where you plan. With J Bank, anything possible. With a little savings in your hand. Save for your plan, build the house, buy the land, walk out and dream like a plan. Save for your plan.
Living your best life and making memories is priceless, but saving little by little is what makes it affordable. Stop wishing you could. With your Jane Bank savings, you absolutely can. Jane Bank, we help you find a way.
So much to do in one location. Make Mega Mart your one-stop shop. Pick up your groceries and houseware needs, grab a bite and pay some bills, fill your prescriptions and see the beauty products in our pharmacy, all in one amazing location. My Mega Mart, the best value by far.
Here is your opportunity to connect with someone who will listen, pray, and give guidance. It's the
To the end of myself, Father, carry me.
Welcome back to the Morning Watch. Thanks for staying with us. I'm your host, Dylan Toussaint, and this is the first watch. We have been addressing the so-called math crisis. And in so doing, we have online Mr. Prince Royal, mathematics tutor of Royal Math Solutions, and Mr. Darian Henry, development specialist and principal of the Montego Bay Community College. So far in our discussion, we have been highlighting the fact that indeed students are struggling with numeracy and literacy. Qualified teachers are short in supply. Teaching methods are of concern, limited resources, the large classroom population size, and the belief that maths is really irrelevant among our students. Mr. Henry, I believe you wanted to say more. Go ahead.
Right. I wanted to make two critical points here, and I agree with what has been raised earlier. But two critical points. One, a lot of students entering the formal education system at grade 1 are not ready for formal education. And when you take stock of the grade 1 learning inventory profile, and the data proves it, and you're seeing it right across the system, they're not ready. When they get to grade 3, you can see manifestations of this ill preparedness. So there's a combination of factors. If the home does not stimulate the child properly to get ready to receive formal instruction, there's going to be a challenge. The other one that cannot be overblown, is this whole notion of a literacy problem. Many students are entering high schools unable to read or write. They enter the primary schools unable to read or write. That is the crisis that has to be addressed. If a student can't comprehend, they can't calculate. They can't calculate. So you have to address that. When I was at Cumberland, I spent over 5 years at Cumberland. 80% of the students, and many of them are boys, a 2-to-1 ratio of boys. They're reading at the pre-primer level. That's what they are. So you have to spend considerable time to at least get them to grade 1 at high school in grade 7. And sometimes it takes you anywhere between 3 to 5 years to get them to at least grade 2, grade 3. So that is where the crisis is, in my considered view. So there has to be a significant policy shift,
we are losing a lot of special education teachers as well. But that has to be in the mix. Now, the ministry rolled out some years ago the alternative pathways to secondary education, and they had specialists who were assigned in this program in the school. So they support the teachers with lesson planning, lesson delivery, student assessment, etc. But many of those specialists are no longer in the system. Those are the skilled ones who are able to really and truly work with the teachers. Yes, dissect the classroom, do the pullouts. You have the numeracy specialist to work with, the literacy specialist to work with, and then you impact the students. But if you don't have that link addressed, you're going to have this problem going forward, and it is going to worsen. We're seeing it in the data now. Only 18% of our national cohort getting 5 subjects, and we are seeing it right across the system. So it's something that we cannot really and truly push under the carpet.
Hearing you loud and clear. Prince Royal, what about the fear factor? Because it just seems that I don't want to say naturally, but persons approach maths with this fear. You know, I mean, it's in the population, it's among the families in the nation, it's in the schools. How do we address those concerns?
All right, so the fear factor is significant. It's a significant issue when it comes to math education in Jamaica, of course. I think in general, you know, and I guess that is also a part of me being a part of the society that believes that math is a fearful, a subject to be feared.
Yeah.
Many students develop a fear in math earlier on, though. And this is due to the experiences, you know, in the home.
Yes, of their peers.
Right? The parents already have this fear of math, and they tend to pass this down.
Yeah.
To their children. So when they go into the classroom now to try to understand or get the material, the concepts, they're already predisposed to this fear approaching it. It's to be overcome, and I don't know if I can do it.
Yes. How do you deal with it, Mr. Royal? You're a maths instructor and educator. How do you deal with that fear?
Well, it's the first thing you have to take on when it comes to, for example, in my profession as a tutor, is the first thing you actually have to address. So to take it on, you have to guide the student into it to let them see that, hey, it's something that you can actually do. You can do math. You're not predisposed to, oh, I can't do math because insert whatever reason. I am a girl, right? I'm not smart. You have to guide them into it with demonstrations and having them actually go through the different concepts, the different parts of mathematics. In doing this, and this is a hands-on approach, of course, right? In doing this, you get the person, the child, the student to become more comfortable, and with comfort comes confidence. And of course, you can take time, increase the difficulty as you would in, for example, a game. You start the game at an early level, right? And you kind of get into the hang of, all right, how do I play this game, right? And then once you have an understanding, a basic understanding enough to actually go forward, you can now develop on that, gain more confidence to take on the more challenges that will come in mathematics.
You mentioned about girls a while ago, so gender is brought into discussion. What have you found, Mr. Royal? Are the males or the females more inclined to do better in maths?
There is absolutely no study at all today that I can actually come to that would actually support an argument that boys are better at maths than girls.
None at all?
None at all that I can actually come to or even bring up, because I've actually gone into looking into it as a professional myself. You will see statistics where some boys will outperform girls, but when it comes down to the cognitive ability and everything in that realm, there's nothing that makes a boy more better at mathematics or STEM related stuff than
or vice versa. Interesting. I thought I heard, that there was something to gender. I don't know if Mr. Henry wants to say anything on that.
Thank you. I've had tremendous amount of experience working with both genders. Worked in a boys' school, worked in a co-ed school. At Cumberland, I worked mostly with boys, and there
Right.
are attitudinal differences between how the genders actually learn, and we have proven this. The research has proven this, and this is why the APS approach with the literacy and numeracy specialists had become so important. So when you do your pull-out, for example, in your literacy lessons or your numeracy lessons, you have to do some kind of dissection. So you find that boys tend to be off task easily or tend to be distracted easily than girls. And the research has proven this, that girls tend to be far more attuned and attentive, while boys can be off task and distracted. So you have to find ways and means in that classroom to apply differentiated instructions in such a way that you are stimulating both genders at the same time, having regard to the pedagogical differences between both groups. So there are. I disagree with Mr. Prince. There are, and it has been proven. I've seen it myself. The approaches have to be different in all its dimension. You cannot teach boys the same way you teach girls. How you teach them at St. Andrews for girls, you cannot teach them the same way at Jamaica College. And it has been proven. The approach has to be diametrically different. You have to be creative. With boys, you have to keep them on task, keep them with creative ideas and get them stimulated. Girls, and it has been proven psychologically as well. Girls tend to develop much faster, their brains develop faster than boys, and this manifests itself in the teaching and learning process.
What a task the teachers have. Gentlemen, as we wind down our discussion, is it a Jamaican problem? Is it also in the Caribbean region and the rest of the world, or is it exclusively a Jamaican problem? Mr. Henry?
No, it's not a Jamaican problem. I talk to my colleagues. Yeah. This whole notion of literacy, and you say I'm kind of broadening the discussion, not just to take account of math, but also the literacy issues as well. It's a problem that is emanating quite a bit in the developing countries, and there are a lot of congruence, a lot of studies that really associate developing economies with math problems. If you realize all those developed economies, STEM education, math education tend to get tremendous amount of premium, but in the developing economies, they tend to struggle quite a bit. And this is why there has to be transformational policy approaches, has to be for example, a national campaign to resensitize and reculture our parents, because we don't romanticize education in our country, Dr. Toussaint. We don't romanticize math. We need to romanticize education. We romanticize parties and dance hall and all of that. But we need to romanticize education and help our parents understand the importance and the value and the premium necessary so we can stimulate our boys and girls where mathematical and literacy principles are concerned.
Romanticizing education, in particular math. Mr. Roy, you have the final word. What do we do? How do we solve this in practical ways apart from the romanticization of it?
I want to actually piggyback on that last point because it's a very, very powerful one. We need to romanticize this. We need to romanticize education indeed.
What that mean?
We have a culture right now where we are actually doing the absolute opposite of that.
Absolutely.
Absolutely.
We are romanticizing dunceness.
Yes.
That's it.
Well, we can't tackle that directly. That is a solution.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, Prince. Thank you, Mr. Royal. Thank you so much. You're so right. We romanticize dunceness. We need
to romanticize math. Listeners, want to watch you back in just a moment.
The time by Jam Bank is
7:30.
for back to school. But wow, getting back to a quiet house comes at a price, right? Flo knows how to ease you up for back to school. With a $15,000 gift card to help take care of your back to school expenses and a free school bag. The books aren't going to carry themselves, right? Make back to school easier and sign up for Yard and Road. Get internet at home and mobile on the go for only 5,000 free recharge plus GCT. Flow Yard and Road makes every day better. Visit our Flow store today. Conditions apply.
Don't let freshness stitch you when you need it the most. Wash your clothes with Downy Softener to keep dazzling everyone around you from day to night. Try Downy Softener now.
The report is out.
What report?
The Constitutional Reform Committee's report of recommendations.
Recommendations on what?
On how we move from a monarchy to a republic, of course.
So what's in it?
The creation of the office of president and changes to our parliament. Yes, man. It also includes a new qualification for membership in parliament. I know you want to see that one.
Read the full report at roadtorepublic.mlca.gov.jm.
We are on the road to republic.
To my amazing son on his wedding day, my heart is full of joy for you. I wish you a lifetime of happiness and a house full of love. Oh, and some kids would be nice. Your mommy will be the kindest, loveliest granny there ever was. Love always, Daddy. I promised him I'd read this to you one day, and here we are.
Thanks, Mommy. Your love lives on with life insurance from Sagicor. Talk to an advisor today.
When you think of the word pride, what comes to mind? When the Bible speaks of pride, it's talking about extreme love and focus on one's self, which is not usually considered a good thing. But why? Can't we practice self-love and self-care? What are your issues with pride? Tuesday, September 3, on The Rock, join guests Rickon Allen and Pastor Silburn Carr as they discuss the topic Pride. That's The Rock, Tuesday, September 3 at 10 a.m. here on the Family Station, Love 101.
Welcome back to the Morning Watch. Thanks for staying with us. I'm your host, Dylan Toussaint. Let's now look at the newspapers to see what Jamaicans and others are saying and doing in the Gleaner. Tropical wave to bring heavy rains and thunderstorms across Jamaica over the next few days. Also in the Gleaner, Governor General proclaims National Day of Remembrance for victims and survivors of the Kendal crash. In the Observer, rescue mission underway for oil ship off Yemen. And in Loop News, driver in crash that claimed the life of child is now in custody. And also 96% of schools reopened for the new academic year. Those are some of the major stories and the headlines in our newspapers. Well, coming up next, we read some of the feedback from our social media question. What did you do to make sure your child is mentally ready for school? We're asking you to leave a comment on our Facebook page and YouTube channel, Love 101 FM Jamaica, or WhatsApp 876-997-3125. We'll be right back.
Got to be a man.
On the next episode of The Mailbox, we'll focus on suicide prevention. It is said that most suicidal individuals give warning signs or signals for their intentions. Suicide prevention starts with recognizing the warning signs and taking them seriously. What can be done if we think a friend or family member is suicidal? What are the tools that we can use to help save the life of someone who's thinking of harming themselves? You are invited to join the conversation with Dr. Donovan Thomas on Wednesday, September 4th at 5:30 p.m. on the Family Station, Love 101. The Mailbox is brought to you by Solid PVC Pipes, manufactured in Jamaica by Foxrich Company Limited. The Mailbox, Monday!
Get ready for another inspiring show this Testimony Tuesday inside Alive 1 to 4:30, September 3, packed with inspirational stories and island-flavored music. At 1:45, we bring you the brain-testing mental-size listener's pick edition. Stick around for Prayer Blast at 2 o'clock as we ring in the prayer bells of heaven. 2:15, inside the evidence, we have a powerful testimony to share with you. Just in case you're about to give up, you can't afford to miss it. Then at 3 p.m., we go behind the pulpit for another life transforming journey with Pastor Bruce Paulson. So stick and stay with us. All this and more will come to you alive 1 to 4:30, September 3 with Sarah and the Choppy One on the family station, Love 101 FM.
Here is your opportunity to connect with someone who will listen, pray, and give guidance. It's the Ministry of Counseling and Prayer of the Edgewater Baptist Church. Please call 876-220-6474 or 876-332-756. Weekdays between please talk to someone finding it particularly challenging to cope with this period of crisis. Someone is waiting for your call. Please reach out today. 876-220-6474 or 876-332-7956. It's the telephone counseling and prayer ministry of the Edgewater Baptist Church. Those to Love 101.
When I come to the end of myself, Father, carry me.
Welcome back to the Morning Watch. Thanks for staying with us. I'm your host, Dylan Toussaint. Let's now join Jukal for a look at how our Facebook, YouTube, and WhatsApp friends answer today's question. What did you do to make sure your child is mentally ready for school? Jukal?
All right, so we do have some responses here from our WhatsApp line. The first one is Cherry in Spanish Town. Cherry says, back then I would ask my child to tell me the likes and dislikes of back to school. What are the emotions of going back to school? Rose from Hampton says, I talk with my grandson and I tell him that he should not follow others, but keep focused. Always pray because he can't do anything by himself. Listen and also ask questions when he doesn't understand. Yes, that's what we have here.
Okay. Thank you so very much to those who responded. Interesting comments there as we looked on the whole matter in the question of being mentally ready. And that's the focus of our second watch. Now, schools have reopened, and experts have been advising parents to support their children by preparing them psychologically for the challenges that may come with back to school. The fact is, at any stage of the school adventure, our children may exhibit and have some negative emotions and experiences. In what ways does mental readiness apply to such emotions and experiences? Well, to talk about this and other related matters, we have online so far Miss Angelica Dalrymple, Associate Applied Psychologist and CEO of ASK Consultancy and Coaching Services, as well as Miss Cynthia Cook, educator and former principal of Camperdown High School. Good morning, ladies.
Good morning.
Yes, good to have you both with us.
Thank you.
Trust you're doing well?
Yes, I am doing well.
Great, great.
Now, ladies.
Yeah, right. Yeah. Now we're talking about mental readiness for back to school. What is your understanding of what that really means? Beginning with you, Miss Cook.
Well, it sounds kind of formal to somebody like me. who we never thought about that before, but now mental health is a buzzword. So I
Mm,
guess it would probably mean that when the children are going back to school, they are happy and their minds are ready to accept whatever is being offered to them. And there is nothing there to distract them from, sopping up everything.
mm, yeah. Miss Dalrymple, your take on that? What you understand that to me and to mean?
Okay. School is a journey. It's a part of the children's developmental health. And in doing so, they ought to be prepared, understanding the purpose of school, so that the way they think, the way they will feel, and the way they will behave. So when they understand the purpose, then they'll be able to think positively about school. They will
Mm,
be able to feel the importance of school and also engage in the activities at school, and they will behave accordingly in the learning environment, the teaching learning environment. So it's about mental readiness.
mental readiness. Now, are there any signs, symptoms, red flags that we need to look for, which may indicate that they are not mentally ready for back to school, Miss Dalrymple?
Certainly. The way, as I said, the way they behave, and the fact that when some of them, when they go to school, they don't respond well to the teaching learning environment. It's like school is not a place for where it was designed to be for them. Many of them do not know their purpose. Why are they at school? So hence they are just there to meet friends.
Mm,
That kind of positive learning environment and the behavior that is needed in that environment. Also, there are a lot of children who are afraid to go to school. Let's look at even from the kindergarten level. They need to be prepared to understand that they are changing environment from home and it's going to be different. So the parents, we're going to have discussion with them. Even those who are returning to school, they may have had a bad year. Other persons may have done things that make them feel so afraid, intimidated, and all of that. They need to come back to that readiness so that they may be able to explore the environment in a new way, in a different way, in a better way.
yes, yes. And Miss Cook, you are a past principal of a high school. Can you what can you tell us about some of your experiences in interfacing with students, teachers, and parents in regard to their mental readiness or lack thereof?
Well, one of the things that I can tell you from my own experience is that I just wanted to go to school to meet my friends because it makes you feel happy, you know? That was the
Mhm,
main reason for me going to school, to see my friends.
mhm,
However, we at the adults in the system feel that children are there to just come and learn what is being offered in the classroom. But schooling is originally was not meant really for the classroom experience, but for the social experience, the social interactions that children can experience. Because you can learn all of the book things at home, you can learn it by yourself, but that is not what you should be preparing the children for, preparing them for existing in the big wide world.
yeah,
Because when you go into the world, you're going to have to interact with people. What you learn in the classroom is just where you're going to be placed in the system, in the um, adult world. But how do you interact with what is happening in the adult world is what the school should be preparing you for. Now, when you see them coming to school on the first day of school, what you see them doing,
yes,
they're looking at their friends, they're trying to find who they've been seeing for the whole summer and so on. And we prepare them really, the parents prepare them for how they will look, the
I'm
school
sorry.
bags and the uniforms
I'm
and the
sorry, Miss Cook.
books and all those things
Yeah,
that parents
I'm
prepare
sorry, Miss
them
Cook.
for, you know?
Hold that thought.
Huh?
We are up on a break. We'll be right back.
Praise sardine for the chef and the beginner. Follow the pan with pepper, that are the winner. Shop on supermarket, everybody
Great
sell it.
sardines, follow the better flavor.
The time is
7:45.
Ever hot, ever juicy. Ever hot, ever juicy.
Honey fresh, flaky, crust, make it fresh, flaky, crust, make it. Don't take a damage of quality. Make it flavor of the open family. Hot, fresh, with a breakfast or lunch. Ain't juicy, whenever you feel down. Honey fresh, flaky, crust, make it fresh, flaky, crust, make it fresh. Juicy practice, our quality food every time. Available at juicy locations all the while.
The report is out.
what report?
The Constitutional Reform Committee's report of recommendations
Recommendations on what?
on how we move from a monarchy to a republic, of course.
So what's in it?
The creation of the office of president and changes to our parliament. Yes, man. It also includes a new qualification for membership in parliament. I know you want to see that one.
Read the full report at roadtorepublic.mlca.gov.jm.
We are on the road to republic.
Gear up the schoolers! July 15 to September 14, Bashka's amazing back-to-school deals just for you. Buy a case of books and receive a box of pencils and pens. Don't miss special discounts on computer tables and chairs starting August 1st. That's not all! 2 lucky winners will receive a Samsung tablet or a $30,000 back-to-school shopping spree. Follow us on all socials at Bashka Jamaica for more information. Visit Bashka today and gear up the schoolers. Bashka, the store that gives you more.
Mama work hard, for real. She do the most to send me and my brother go school. So, the dream was always to go to university. Well, I fulfilled 2 dreams with 1 Jane Bank savings plan, you know. I further my education and I make mama proud.
Save so you can take the part, travel far, graduate like a star.
Stop wishing you could. With your Jane Bank savings, you absolutely can. Jane Bank will help you find a way.
Welcome back to the Morning Watch. Thanks for staying with us. I'm your host, Dylan Toussaint, and it's the second watch. We have been asking the question and seeking to answer it. What does it mean to be mentally ready for back to school? And in so doing, we have online Cynthia Cook, educator and former principal of Camperdown High School, as well as Angelica Dalrymple, associate applied psychologist and CEO of ASK Consultancy and the coaching services. I think before the break, Miss Cook, I had interrupted your train of thought as you were responding to the question, or asking you really tell us about your experience as a former principal. Please continue.
Yes, I will move to the children just coming in first form.
Yes.
This can be frightening when they come in. One, you're going to have multiple teachers, whereas in your former school you may have 1 or 2 or so, and they are wondering what to expect in this new school. So one of the things they will not have is they will not have their friends. Many of them will not have the friends that they had in the former school, and they might have a little trepidation, as to how will I deal with these new friends? And some of them, you have some children who are really introverts and they find it difficult to make friends. So you have to really think about all those children coming in as the adults in the system. You have to prepare them for that when they just come in. Everybody have what we call orientation and so on. So these are the little things that we have to prepare them for going into the new classroom. Some of them, they are accustomed to bringing their own lunches. When they come to high school, that some of them don't want to bring their lunch. Usually, children who bring lunches always want the lunch that the other child has, because that looks nicer than the one that they have. Some of them didn't want to open their lunch because they feel that it is not as pretty as, and as acceptable as the other. Little things like those we have to think about. And the parents tend not to concentrate on those things, or they probably are not aware of those things if they never had a small child before. Now, another thing that I usually talk about is when you just come to school after the summer holidays, the teacher may ask you, how I spent my summer holidays, an
Right.
essay. And
Right.
I might not have spent it in a dramatic way or the way that I think my teacher
But
will
I feel
expect me to write.
intimidated to
And I
respond to
get
that.
a little anxious about that.
Yes.
What am I going to write?
Interesting. Interesting. Yeah.
Right, when I look at what the other children had, and so on. And some
Yeah.
of them, you're probably the ones who went to boarding school, which is fewer and fewer each year. Some of them might wet the bed and they don't want to go to school, and other children find out that they wet the bed.
Wow.
Those
Wow.
little things are practical things that we
Yes.
can think about, but
Yes.
that are stressful for the children. Sometimes we remember what we used to do when we were children, and then we feel that the children must operate at a standard that we have established, and we don't realize that children are going to be this often the same as the parents, and they don't remember that. So they want the children to be perfect and
Yeah.
you know do
I'm
all of
happy.
what we expect them to be, whereas we're never like that.
I'm happy you mentioned the
You wanted
parents.
to say something?
Happy you mentioned the parents, Miss Cook, because as I know, segue to asking Miss Dalrymple, what about the parents and the teachers and their mental readiness? I mean, we have said a lot about the students, the children. What about parents now? 'Cause I've been reading about parents being very anxious to send their children out with crashes and fights in the schools and the different environments and the teachings and the philosophies. How do they navigate that, Miss Dalrymple?
You see, when we talk about the mental readiness in school, there are so many areas that we could put in, because it's the entire child, it's the entire parent. Because when the parent are sending their children to school or preparing their children to school, it's like they're preparing themselves for
Yeah.
school. So
Right.
that is one of the major things parents have to pay attention. This is not just getting the child dressed, putting clothes on, and sending the child out. This is a part of me. I have to give my full support. And in so many areas, you have to think about safety. I have to think about the learning environment. How is a child going to be managing or coping in the learning environment? So the
Right.
parent themselves will have to put themselves, as Mrs. Cook said, they have to put themselves in the child's shoe and be there, because it doesn't matter the age of the child, even up to CXC age, the children need the parental support. And always let them do it with pleasure. Let them study with pleasure. Let them go into the school environment feeling that they have a purpose, reassured of the purpose for which they are there for, and the confidence. So this is a parent's role, to always let them feel motivated, talk to them all the time, check on them. Don't just be like the authoritarian parent who, is your work done, and all of that. Find out, how are you feeling today? How did you manage to do it? Especially those new students that are going into high school. I say
Right.
that because, as Miss Cook said, it's a different environment, different kettle of fish. They
Yeah.
have to be walking from one class to the other, and so forth and so on. That comes down on their emotional health. And if they are not prepared for it, it can drag them so much that they don't even want to go back to school. Also, the new friends, that is another cliche, because they have lost their old friends. It's a loss. They could be grieving their friends too. Yes, it happens. And we need to pay attention. Parents need to guide them through. Now, there are some parents who are not aware of these things. And I would suggest that if you're not aware, connect with people who will help you, to guide you, to help you to understand the different areas. Talking about safety, traveling on the road. There are some parents, new school, just take the children for a day and say, take that bus over there, take that one over there. Oh my gosh. When the child gets to the bus stop from home, then that's fine, because the child may be taken to the bus stop. But when the
Right.
child comes to school, the entire day the child is, how do I get home? And so forth, especially for those who really do not know their route, is the first time. Those things are traumatic. Those things can cause the child emotional unwellness. So parents, take them before the school day, guide them through, and follow them even for a week or two, and help them to get that confidence. As I said, there are so many areas that we can talk about that are real, that happen, and sometimes mess up the children real purpose for which they should be in school. So while they're in school, they're worrying about so many other different things: safety, support, and so forth.
Do teachers also have mental issues for back to school readiness?
Oh, certainly. Certainly, because each year you get a new set of children. And I must say, let me start from the grade 7 8. Many times the grade 7 children come in, they new with all different kinds of challenges. Some of the challenges the parents didn't even know about. Some of them were not even psychological assessed, and they come in with disorders. Now some of the teachers, some of the teachers are not familiar with some of the disorders. They just see the behavior, and as such it impacts on the teacher negatively. And teachers, they are human, so they have their own challenge. Maybe they have their children too going to school.
Yeah.
So when they come into the environment ready to teach, they're getting that kind of feedback. It can be so devastating on their minds.
And when teachers come and hear that their associates, persons who used to teach with them, have migrated, how does that impact them?
They want to migrate too, most likely, because people look for greener pastures and their minds are moving across those greener pastures, whether they are greener, yes or no, but they're seemingly greener. And most times you look at your current, your immediate environment, and sometimes you don't even have anything to compare to because you have never been somewhere else, but you're always thinking that if I get out of this, when a child comes and really lay it down in a negative way, you just say, oh my God, I wish I could get out of this, and you try. So the
Yes.
point here is you don't have your own teachers support that you used to have. Your friends who are your teachers in the same environment, they are not there. You start seeing Cubans, you start seeing Asians, you're just at a new space again. So
Yes,
it's a
yes.
whole kettle of fish.
It really is. Miss Cook,
Teachers also, teachers also have to have orientation. One of the
yes.
things that I remember is that when you sit in a staff room, there is, staff room gossip, I can
Oh,
call it, if I may
oh,
do so.
those
And
things got me.
yes,
Go ahead, go
when
ahead.
a teacher comes and talks about a child, probably sometimes it's just to relieve themselves of the stress, to say, boy, this child, and so on, so on, so on. So what you as a teacher going into this classroom for the first time have to remember that children react to people different people differently. So what you have to do is just go into the classroom and love everybody, because whatever you're looking for, you're going to find. If were
Mm,
told that this child is going to cough every 5 seconds, you're going to go in there listening to see if the child cough. And sometimes
yes,
the child definitely has a reason to cough, and then you are going to sort of look at that child in a negative way. So just go into the classroom, love everybody, and let them give you a chance to not love them, but love everybody, and don't expect anything that you heard before. So you have
love
to train
everybody.
them to do that, and
Yes, love
make
everybody.
sure that everything that happens in yes, and everything that happened in the classroom, you are responsible for that. Everything that happens there. So you must know that you are going to be the person who determines if the child gets up from their seat, if the child does their homework, if the child writes off what you write on the board, and so on. So
Mm,
you have to be careful about everything that you do. One girl wore her watch on her left hand because a particular teacher who she liked used to wear her watch on her left hand. Somebody told me one time that a girl used to come to school and she looked at how my hair was, and she went into the class bathroom and fixed her hair to do that.
wow,
Would you know
wow,
that children do those things? But they
wow.
do. So you have to be aware of the
Careful.
things. And you know what you
Hear
do?
this?
I can give you another little example. A
No more
teacher
examples.
went
Cook.
into the classroom, and she's a math teacher, and the
We're out of time.
child
We're out
and the
of time,
teacher
Mr. Byron.
asked
We
the
got to go.
child,
All right. Thank you both for joining us. Very
okay, good,
interesting discussion. Have a safe day, ladies.
you're
Thank
welcome.
you. God bless.
Thank you, listeners, for being with us. Join us again tomorrow as we continue to set the stage for a discussion of topical and controversial issues. For information, get copies of this program. Call our production department at 876 968 95 96 to 7. This has been our the Morning Watch. Thanks to our producer, Kathy Gale, and our guests. I'm Dylan Toussaint. Hand you back to Love in the Morning with Jukal Dyer.
The Ministry of Health and Wellness works to ensure the provision of quality health services and promotes healthy lifestyles and environmental practices for all Jamaicans. The time by the Ministry of Health and Wellness is
8 a.m. and you're now invited to listen to Forward in Faith, brought to you by the